In this video, I'm going to present my recommendations for a selection of great ladies' watches that span a range of prices and styles. Each watch is appealing in unique ways to your head and to your heart, because that's what drives me when I look at watches. By the head part, I mean it should be a quality watch and have some important features, including a reliable movement and solid construction, so that it can last a lifetime. The sky is the limit here in terms of quality and price. Generally speaking, the better the finishing, the greater the cost, but that isn't always true. And obviously, if you want a watch made of precious metals like gold or platinum, or a watch that has gemstones draped all over it, then the cost will skyrocket quickly. But generally speaking, a high quality watch will have a few essential elements. Firstly, it will have sapphire glass over the dial. That will resist scratches and keep the watch looking good for years, versus if it was made of cheaper glass or plastic. Next, it will have a quality movement that can be either quartz and powered by a battery, or mechanical and powered by the movement of your wrist or your manual winding. It will also have quality construction and nice finishing, and we'll get into this as we look at these watches. For the heart part, I think that the biggest thing is that the watch should have a history. It should be able to tell a cool story, because if you're going to spend money on a watch, it should do more than look good and tell the time. It should make you feel good, and it should be something really special. So each of the watches I present here are going to have that hook, something that makes them stand out from the crowd and makes them be truly special. Up first is this new ladies' version of the famous Casio GShock. If you're looking for a ladies' sport watch, then look no further. The G-Shocks have been around for decades, and when they first appeared in the 1980s, they revolutionized shock resistance in watches, so you can rest assured that this watch can take anything you can throw at it. That's what makes this watch for me. It has that pedigree of toughness and the confidence it inspires. Plus, this is the most stylish looking G-Shock I've seen in a long while. It has a stainless steel and resin composite case construction and a 100-meter water resistance. The metal parts of the case are either brushed stainless steel or iron-plated rose or pink gold. Iron plating is a way to add colour to a metal that leaves a durable coating that here is a brushed rose gold appearance that should be very hard wearing. The watch is also a combo display of analog time with an hour and minute hand and a small circular digital display for all of its other functions. The hands are faceted and coated in luminous material, and the hour indices are very thick, giving the dial a really very bold three-dimensional look. A standout feature of this watch is that the dial is actually a solar cell that recharges the watch. That eliminates the need to replace batteries. It also has an alarm, stopwatch, countdown timer, dual world time for travel, and an LED light. The watch is available in numerous colour and strap or bracelet combinations. My only negative thoughts on this watch are that it has a mineral glass over the dial that is better at resisting scratches than regular glass or plastic, but it's not as high quality as sapphire that we'll see on some of the watches still to come. And that controlling all of the functions and even just adjusting the time can be somewhat frustrating, and it certainly takes some practice. But the retail price of just $180 pretty much makes up for those shortcomings. This next watch is a really interesting piece in terms of its aesthetics and its function. It's the Murloc Stop To Go, and it's modelled on the official Swiss Railways clocks that you find in every train station across Switzerland. The design actually dates back to 1944, with clear black hour and minute indices on a white dial, with black stick hour and minute hands, and a splash of colour with the red lollipop style seconds hand. The dial is printed with Mondaine and Swiss made, and under the text at 12 o'clock is the logo and acronym for the Swiss Federal Railway. This all makes for a very legible watch with a clear historical link. But this watch also has a very cool party trick up its sleeve. The red seconds hand actually revolves around the dial in 58 seconds instead of 60, so that it can stop for 2 seconds at 12 o'clock. During these 2 seconds, the minute hand advances in 1 full minute tick. This behaviour is absolutely unique for a quartz watch, and it mimics the official railway clocks found across Switzerland, as they do exactly the same thing in order to receive a synchronising signal during the 2-second pause to keep them all running precisely across the country. It's also during these 2 seconds and exactly as the minute hand ticks to the top of the hour that trains leave the stations. Mundane has actually poured a considerable amount of research into developing a new quartz movement that can do all of this, and it's a really impressive feature. The watch is a great quality with brushed stainless steel case, sapphire crystal over the dial, and it comes on your choice of genuine black or red leather straps. A final cool feature on this watch is the application of luminescent material on the back side of the hour and minute hands that gives off a green glow in low light conditions. My only negative thought on this watch is that it is a bit larger at 41mm in diameter, so if you have smaller wrists it may be a little too large, as 41mm is approaching a larger sized men's watch. The next watch in the lineup is the Hamilton Ventura. I know it looks a little funky, but I think it's a cool combo of retro and modern styles. Hamilton was originally an American watch company founded in 1892 in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It was known as one of the highest quality manufacturers in the US, and in the 1950s it produced the Ventura models that were the world's first electronic watches powered by a battery. The watches had the unusual and very futuristic looking triangular shape that remains as unique today as they were 60 plus years ago. The watch became famous on the wrist of Elvis Presley. The king apparently loved the watch so much that he also bought them for all of his friends. The watches also feature in every Men in Black movie on the wrists of the men and women in black. Hamilton has since become part of the Swiss Swatch Group, and it now offers the Ventura in a small size of 24mm by 36.5 and a large size of 32 by 50. So just be aware that there is a considerable size difference between these two. The watches all feature quartz movements that are an evolution of the original electric ones, and as you can see it comes on a variety of configurations with steel and gold coloured cases, black or white coloured dials, along with some more exotic options of mother of pearl dials, or even a dial made of denim as an alternative material. It's also in a variety of straps, from leathers and denim to metal bracelets, so really there's likely to be something to fit your own personal tastes here. The details on this watch are excellent, with applied circular hour indices on the dial, and the hour and minute hands are Dauphine shaped and they are faceted. The seconds hand is very unusual, with a slender arrow point and conical counterweight. The crown is also a good size, making it easy to grip, and it is also really delicately knurled. This watch is a unique blend of the retro and futuristic styling that gets a real boost of coolness due to its horological history and its association with celebrity. The only thing I don't like about this watch is the use of a mineral crystal instead of harder sapphire. Verado is a Swiss watchmaker that you may not be familiar with, but they were founded in 1957, and throughout their history they have been highly innovative in terms of design and the materials that they use to make their watches. The world's first ceramic watch was made by Verado in 1990, and since then they have been very much at the forefront of the use of ceramic in watch cases. Ceramic is a really difficult material to work with, but it has a huge benefit over metal in that it is highly scratch resistant, lightweight, hypoallergenic, and also very heat resistant, so it never feels too hot or too cold on the wrist. The true thin line watches are made entirely out of ceramic, so you get all of these benefits, and on top of that, Verado has also managed to make this watch incredibly thin at just 5mm. They are available in a multitude of colours, and there are also a number of very cool dial options underneath its sapphire crystal. You can have a variety of colours and textures, with some of my personal favourites being the green leaf texture, where you can see the veins of the leaf itself, the lighter and darker colours of powdered crystal that either take on a frost, gold or moondust appearance, or the smaller 30mm model with the gold rim around the dial and 12 small real diamonds set into the dial as hour markers. I'm also a big fan of the all-black 30mm model with 4 set diamonds and skeleton hour and minute hands. It just looks extremely modern and yet really elegant. So here you are, you're getting something that is very design conscious, but from a company with a long history in the watch industry. And thanks to decades of research and development by Verado, you're also getting a watch that is highly innovative in its construction, and with that almost impossible to scratch ceramic case and bracelet, the watch will look pristine virtually forever. The name Cartier may immediately conjure thoughts of one of the most famous jewellery houses in the world, but they have also been producing watches throughout most of their history since 1847. It was in fact Cartier that produced the world's first wristwatch in 1906 for the pilot Alberto Santos Dumont, who made the first European flight in a fixed-wing aircraft. He needed something he could look at quickly while at the controls of his plane, and they came up with the idea of strapping a watch to his wrist, as the norm at the time was the pocket watch. Then in 1917, Cartier produced a new model that incorporated design elements from the new war machines of the First World War. It was simply called the Tank. The Tank is a simple yet elegant design that is one of the longest continuously produced watch models in the world. The tank track elements of the design are apparent in its solid case flanks and its rectangular shape. The design has become one of the most iconic in the entire world of watchmaking, and it has often been copied by other manufacturers, but never surpassed. The watch has amassed an epic celebrity following over the years, as it was worn by the likes of Jackie Kennedy, Muhammad Ali, Princess Diana, Fred Astaire, and many more of the icons of the last century. Andy Warhol reportedly wore one that he never wound up, and simply said it was the watch to wear. The current Tank model that I recommend is the Tank Solo, as it is the most reasonably priced of the current offerings, and I believe it to be one of the most faithful in design to the original Tanks. The Tank Solo is available in 3 sizes, the small, large and XL, but the XL might be too large for most ladies' wrists. The small and large sizes are also both really thin at just 5.5mm in thickness. Both the small and large are powered by quartz movements and are available in steel, yellow or pink gold. The case has a mixture of polished and brushed surfaces with an excellent quality of finishing. The gold cases are solid 18 karat gold, but they have kept the cost down on those by using a steel caseback. The dial is classic with Roman numerals and a rectangular minutes track, all in black and painted onto a light silver opaline dial that gives off a beautiful sheen. A little surprise thing to hunt for when you look at the dial is the Cartier signature that makes up the Roman numeral at 10 o'clock in the small model or the Roman numeral at 7 in the case of the large and XL models. In the XL model, you also get a date window at 6 o'clock. The hands are beautiful sword shapes that have been blued, which means they have been treated with heat so that they resist oxidation, and over the dial there is a sapphire crystal. The crown is very elegant with a beaded surround and a synthetic sapphire set into it. The watch is available on a variety of different coloured genuine leather straps or on a brushed and polished steel bracelet. This watch is nothing short of iconic. It has always been in style and it always will be. With its incredible history and sheer elegance, it's hard to think of a better ladies' watch. The last watch I'd like to highlight is the Omega Constellation. The Constellation model line began in 1952 and it was created to showcase the accuracy of Omega's watch movements. All of the watches had an engraving of the Geneva Observatory on the caseback to symbolise that they had passed rigorous accuracy tests and were certified as chronometers and thus among the most accurate watches produced in Switzerland. The design of the Constellation has evolved through the decades, but the models we have here today are an excellent example of integrating a watch case with a high quality metal bracelet. And on the wrist, the watch feels much more like a bracelet than a watch. The finishing of the watch is extremely high quality, with finely executed, polished and satin brushed surfaces, beautifully done beveling along the edges, and finely engraved Roman numeral hour markers in the bezel around the outside of the dial. The watch comes in a wide variety of 26 different combinations of stainless steel and 18-karat yellow or rose gold bracelets and cases. The dials are exquisite underneath sapphire crystal, with a great choice of colours and materials, including mother of pearl and quartz, as well as a wide variety of finishes, including sunburst and silk or linen effects. The sky is the limit here, as you can break the bank and have a solid gold watch with diamonds on the dial and around the bezel. But my personal favourite is the two-tone stainless steel with rose gold bezel and bracelet accents. It's got rose gold hands and hour markers and a mother of pearl dial. The watch's hands are said to be modelled on the shape of the new One World Trade Center tower in Manhattan, and the watch has the added practicality of a circular frame date window at 6 o'clock. The watches are 29mm in diameter, so they should fit most wrists and be suitable for both more casual and dressier situations. The bracelets of these watches are very well done with beveled edges and barrel joints between the links. They also have a great expansion feature that allows you to expand the bracelet by 2mm to improve comfort if your wrist expands on a hot day. All of these watches have an excellent mechanical movement that keeps the lineage of the constellation alive by being certified for its accuracy through passing the most stringent tests in Switzerland. The movement is one of the most advanced in the business. It is highly resistant to magnetic fields that surround us in the modern electronic world and that can wreak havoc on other watches. The movement is also nicely decorated and visible through a sapphire crystal display caseback, so you can feast your eyes on the mechanical heart of the watch. These watches are beautifully made, they're high quality, and they're extremely versatile. The model line has quite a bit of history, and you're getting an excellent ladies' watch from one of the greatest Swiss manufacturers. I think the Constellation is one of the best ladies' watches out there. Those were my recommendations for the best ladies' watches, but there are so many great watches out there that I couldn't include in this video. So if you have recommendations for ladies' watches, do please share them in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, do please like and subscribe.